Dennis Rodman said that Larry Bird would be playing in Europe if he played today. And again, Rodman's in the category of you can't even really believe what he says. So I don't know how much stock you put in it, but Dennis Rodman did play against peak Larry Bird. It's not like a guy that plays now dismissing a previous generation. No, those guys couldn't play in our day and age. Because Rodman, as part of the Bad Boys, had to get through the Boston Celtics and lost to the Boston Celtics a number of times, and then finally got through the Celtics, and so he saw Larry Bird. Now, Bird was not the most dynamic athlete. He wasn't necessarily explosive. He wasn't a ferocious dunker, but Larry Bird could shoot the lights out. Bird was the first true three-point marksman that used it as a weapon. Bird also was an elite passer. Bird was a cutthroat competitor, and Bird was a 3-time league MVP. So, guys, do we think that Larry Bird would be playing in Europe if he played nowadays?
No, and I hate in any sport when we do this, when we say that person couldn't play today. If Larry Bird played in 2023, he still would have his God-given ability, but be in NBA weight rooms with NBA shooting coaches. And I believe that Larry Bird was that special a talent that he would have adapted to today's NBA with all of the modern technology, medicine, whatever, and still been an all-time great. And I believe that to be the case for all-time greats in every sport.
Bogues?
We said this yesterday about Antonio Brown. We don't need to hear from him anymore. We don't need to hear from Rodman.
No.
If you want to slightly reassess Bird in today's NBA, I get it. But in today's NBA, we shoot 45 threes a game. And there are guys whose job it is to just shoot threes. So, like, worst case scenario for Bird, he'd have a job shooting for somebody. But he was a tremendous passer, smart. I mean, there's no walking back Larry Bird. It's just not. To me, he would have figured out a way to be good at any point of time where there was NBA basketball.
Yeah, that's the key here, is that so much of his skill set actually translates better to today's day and age. I mean, back then, if he shot 7 threes in the game, it was like, wow, Bird shot 7 threes. That's an entire team. Now, as you said, if you let Larry Bird shoot 25 threes a game, 20 threes a game, and all he's doing is practicing the art of the three-pointer all day long, every day, and he's an elite passer, amazing court vision, you can let him play forward and just allow him to play around the perimeter and bring the ball up. Like, there's no reason why he would not be good in today's NBA. You want to say he's not as fast, bouncy, athletic in terms of getting to the rim as other players today, average players today? Maybe, but the rest of his skill set, it's like, what? Being the best three-pointer in the game wouldn't be of value in 2023?
But again, he, in theory, then would have grown up with his given ability playing at that kind of way. So who's to say he wouldn't have been more athletic? Different kinds of training, different kind of growth. Like, his whole life of playing basketball with that skill set would have adapted to today's game.
Yeah, and even if you just look at him as the hick from French Lick, a white guy that wasn't, a huge dunker, and say, well, that would never work in today's NBA, it's stupid because all of his skill set does.
Right.
All the things he did great does.
This is pretty crazy. Looking at his per game averages, he only averaged 1 made 3 per game on 5 occasions in his career. He usually only took 3 or 4 per game on average.
Think about that. And he won the three-point contest at least 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
So he was the best three-point shooter in the game, but it was just recently introduced. I think we got the NBA three-pointer sometime in the early 80s. And so he just came into the game when we got the three-pointer. And coaches were like, don't take threes.
Right.
There's no value there. You're Larry Bird. Keep taking twos. Everybody take twos. The mid-range jumper is the ultimate. So, yeah, imagine taking his greatest strength and being like, yeah, you're not allowed to do that either. And still be a 3-time MVP.
He averaged a double-double for the first 6 seasons of his career.
Was that assists or rebounds? Was the
Rebounds.
He was also a great passer,
Yeah,
too.
and at least 5 assists a year.
Yeah, it was crazy.